4th down and 2, and he is thrown back behind the 10-yard line by Trevor Reilly, who comes up, and Utah gets a big stop there and will take control of the football.
Utah defensive captain Trevor Reilly is the kind of player that Kyle Whittingham credits with keeping the team together during their last year's disappointing season and all those struggles.
Yeah, and when he's not holding the Utes together, he's with his wife and 2 daughters, Nellie and 1-year-old Shane, who's facing a bigger struggle than any football game.
Most important to me right now in my life is my family. I got my wife and 2 kids, and we've been going through a few things right now. But when I come to football, football is most important at that moment.
Is there really anything that could prepare you for what it would be like to be a college student and a football player and a husband and a dad?
Yeah, well, it's been a wild ride the last year. I had ACL surgery in December, which is a long rehab. Then we found out my 1-year-old got diagnosed with kidney cancer in June. And then football season started, and then school started, and so I've been dealing with a few things, me and my wife, but you know what? There's worse things in the world. You know, life could always be worse. I could be starving. I could be in a third world country. People, my family and friends could be dead around me, so I'm just appreciative that everyone's okay and I'm able to play football.
Lost the football. Well, it was on the ground right behind Hogan, near a Utah football. Trevor Reilly recovers it for the Utes, his 2nd fumble recovery.
Trevor Reilly, the defensive end, and Trevor Reilly, the dad. Is it something that's hard? Is it something you have to stop and think about and work at?
Sometimes, but I'm usually so tired when I go home. I like to be at home when I go home. When I'm at football, I like to be at football. So when I get done with practice, like when I'm going to leave here, I'm going to go be with my kids and my wife, and I'm going to be all in when it comes to that. When I was a kid, Rick Majerus, I went to one of his basketball camps, and he used to talk about that. He said, when you're doing something, be in the moment and whatever you're doing and be fully invested, whether it was taking a girl on a date, being in class, being in football. And that's how I like to do things. You know, if I'm going to school, I want to be in school. If I'm at football practice or at the facility, I want to be at the facility. And when I'm home, I want to be home with my family. So that kind of makes things easier when I can be all in, depending on what I'm doing during the day.
How difficult is it for you to ever remove your mind from what your daughter's going through, or is it constantly in your mind all the time?
It's gotten a little bit better. She's got her last chemotherapy session this Friday, and hopefully it's a good prognosis after that. We'll see if she still has any cancer left in her. But the last 3 months, it's been on my mind every day. But when I'm at football, it's kind of a release. You know, I get to focus and think about what's going on. Now, there's been a few days where we had to go to the hospital for various reasons, and obviously that came first instead of football. And Coach Whittingham's been totally supportive and totally understanding, and if I needed to go, he let me go. So it's been a good situation for me.
She's right about in the middle between 2 full body scans, right, to check for cancer. How has she done since that first one, and what are your feelings heading into the second one, waiting for that to happen in December?
Well, she's kind of a chubby little one, so that's kind of a good thing. She likes to eat and she likes to drink milk. Usually when kids go through chemotherapy, they lose weight because they lose their appetite. And she really hasn't shown very many side effects as far as that goes. One of the things we're really worried about is she only has 1 kidney. So if the cancer has spread to her other kidney, then we're going to have some real issues. And for right now, we're kind of in a gray zone, like you said, until we find out if she's cancer-free.
From the outside looking in, it sounds pretty horrifying. How do you keep your sanity in dealing with this and seeing your little 1-year-old daughter go through this?
You know, it's almost better that she's so young, just because she thinks it's, she kind of thinks it's like playtime when she goes to get chemotherapy, just because there's some toys there and she's able to sleep after the therapy. But if she was like my other daughter's age, it'd probably be rougher, just because my other daughter can speak and my other daughter can express herself a little bit better. And so that makes it a little bit easier, her being so young. But at the same time, it's almost, when we got the news, it was worse just because she was so young and so helpless. So it's kind of been a roller coaster ride, and hopefully it ends safely.
Have you learned more about cancer and chemotherapy and treatments than you ever wanted to know?
Oh yeah. You know, when we first were finding out if it was cancer, she had a little lump in her stomach. They said we're going to bring the oncologist in, and at that point we knew that it was probably cancer. So since that point, my wife has kind of been a bulldog in learning everything she could about it, and she's been active in the community with fundraisers and with getting awareness out there, and also being part of a support network for moms and families with kids with cancer. So it's kind of been a good thing for not only us, but for other people around us as well.